Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a review. Can you believe it? I wanted to do a lot more reviews last year, but it didn't end up working out. Today I will be doing a review of Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and this is the second book in the Illuminate files. This book takes place on Space Station Heimdall, and if you guys remember, in Illuminate they are traveling to Space Station Heimdall to make it through their jump gate, I believe it's called, and it follows Hannah and Nick. In the description, Hannah is described as the captain's pampered daughter, and Nick is described as a reluctant member of the House of Knives, which is a well-known crime family. Once a Baytech team invades the space station, the two are forced to work together in order to basically save everyone. Going into this, I was a little upset that the two main characters in this were different from the two main characters of Illuminate, because by the end of that book I grew really attached to Katie and Ezra, and I kind of didn't really want to let them go. So I was a little upset about that, but saying that, I grew attached to Hannah and Nick as well. I don't know, I don't want to say that it was more or less than my attachment to Katie and Ezra, because I felt like Hannah and Nick were two different people, and they both brought something different to the table. They all have an equal place in my heart right now. I enjoy Hannah and Nick more. Actually, I enjoyed them more than I thought I would. So I was surprised by that, and I was really happy about that. And although I grew to care for Hannah and Nick, I still would say that Ella is my favorite character within this book. One thing that I was a little disappointed in was, I guess, the second enemy. The Phobos virus, the people afflicted by the Phobos virus in Illuminate, I felt like were way creepier than the alien predators in Gemina. I say that because, yes, these alien predators were creepy and they had an effect, but at the same time, they couldn't do as much as these people that were afflicted by the Phobos virus. One thing that I really did enjoy about this that wasn't in Illuminate was the added illustrations. The main character, Hannah, she kept a journal, and part of her journal was drawing. Like, she was really into drawing and doodling. When she couldn't get words to match what she wanted to say, she would take to drawing. I just felt like it added something more to the story. The illustrations were by Marie Lu, which is the author of the Legend trilogy and the Young Elites trilogy, I believe. The ending of this book was really exciting. There was so much build up, and then something happened, and then it's kind of like something else was done to contradict something that was said. And no, that's really confusing, but I don't really want to give anything away, just because I just feel like this is something that you need to read for yourself. And actually, I first read this because I got an ARC back at BookCon 2016, and I kind of read it right after I finished Illuminate, but there was a whole bunch of art missing, so I decided to reread it when I got the finished copy. I completely forgot what happened at the ending, and I read it again, and I was completely surprised all over again. I did read the ARC, but when I reread it, I decided that I wanted to listen to the audiobook, but I also wanted to follow along, because I knew I wanted to reread it when the finished copy came out, just because the ARC had basically all the art that was supposed to be in here was missing. So I knew I wanted to reread it, so I decided that while I was rereading it, I went ahead and picked up the audiobook, and I listened to the audiobook while following along with this. And I thought, honestly, I think that's the best thing to do, is to listen to the audiobook while following along. These 2 pages, it shows up a lot, but this whole thing isn't mentioned in the audiobook until like the very end of it. So that's why I think it's best to follow along with this. And if you only want to choose one, I honestly would say skip the audiobook, even though it adds a completely different experience to the story. It like kicks it up to another level. But if you don't want to do both, you only want to do one, I would highly suggest you pick up the physical copy, just because there is so much more to the physical copy that you won't necessarily get within the audiobook. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and I highly highly recommend it. I don't think I can say anything more about this, but I loved it, and I am definitely looking forward to the third book within this series.